All right, so welcome to this week's Unikernel application spotlight. This week we're looking at Gossamer. Yes, we're on another, we're geeking out on more new personal programming languages. Uh, so Gossamer is interesting. It's written in Rust, but it takes advantage of a lot of Go code. It's really the confluence of a handful of languages, which the author kind of goes into. Um, but yeah, I mean they list kind of the main points here, but the very first example that caught my eye was the use of these pipes, which I found pretty interesting. I find this like super readable because a lot of the stuff that I do in the shell when it comes to like data and so forth, this is just how I work with data, and it's just a lot more readable that way. There's a few other things like this that you see in the language, like expression matching and so forth, which allows you to kind of compose higher level operations. And so you can kind of see some of the influences that this language takes. But you look at like routing, for instance. This is a simple web routing example. Shows you how to use Go routines. You got your various ABDTs, and but yeah, the deeper you go into the language, the more you find some interesting stuff. So, for instance, like this arena block is pretty interesting. You can declare this arena, and then everything inside this you can put it inside of a bump allocator. Um, and so, like, once it's out of scope, all that crap is freed. Um, that's an interesting little feature. I kind of like that. Now that actually goes into the memory model. So one of the main big differences here is they use reference counting. So there's no GC, and there's no all this other crap. So I haven't really had a chance to explore this in detail, but yeah, I guess it's been modeled after Swift's reference counting. Um, so they put a lot of good details in here. What else did we have? The obviously you can write your own libraries, deployment. Just trying to find. Yeah, their security thing is a little bit more than your average security document, which is nice. Um, pretty pretty explicitly against manual memory management. Of course, at the end of the day, it's turtles all the way down, so somebody has to do that somewhere. So this is more of an abstraction at the user facing level. But what's interesting is they did list out some of these known gaps here, which are pretty not exactly not something I would instantly try to look for. I found that interesting. Um, but yeah, the you know all of this good stuff. The skill card, basically telling you how to write code correctly. This is an interesting little breakdown right here, and basically it goes into some of the differences, and also again like where some of the influences are coming from, like which language. Obviously, Rust is heavily um, uh, found here, but also if you look at F sharp, I mean that's also got a lot of key elements that it's coming into. Um, so yeah, I mentioned the pipe. Oh, one thing that we'll show is this has both a REPL and you can compile it, which is interesting because typically when you have a REPL, it's great for fast scripting and so forth, but it comes down with that downside that it's really not like for prod use, right? Um, but but what happens with the language is it tends to be like your compiled languages tend to be a little bit more. I don't want to use the word verbose, but it tends to involve more code than what a REPL uh, would have. And so it's interesting that you can make a language have both and balance those trade offs. And so you do have that VM that you have access to. Let's see. So this is the actual repository package. We can go ahead and just kind of take a look at it. So I've got a few examples here. Our hello world, pretty basic. And then we have this pipes one, which I'll show after, just because I like the style of it. We're just gonna run it. That's our basic hello world, not too, crazy. Now let's check out our pipes one. This is what we got from the front page. And so basically we have these three functions. We have double, which, times 2. We have add, which adds, and then we have clamp, so it sets bounds. And so basically we have n equals 3. We pipe that into double, so now we got 6. We add 10, now we got 16, and it's clamped. And so we can kind of run that, right? So if we do, I have my other pipes config here, and we get exactly what we expect. So this code is running through the interpreter, right? And so, again, this might be great for dev test. In prod, you might want to compile it. And if so, that's pretty easy to do. So when you do compile it, you can do a, let me see if, okay, so you can compile it down, and then we get it here, so we can go ahead and see what it is. That's actually pretty damn small, less than a meg. That's kind of cool. I didn't see that first. But then you can just, run it, and it's the same code, but now it's gonna probably run a lot faster and have a whole bunch of other guarantees that your scripting part won't have. And so I would probably do this in prod, but each their own. It's really up to you. But I do find it to be a interesting little language. And yeah. Oh, let's before I let you go, let me just see what the package looks like real quick. So I don't think there's anything in here. Yeah, this is a pretty basic package. It doesn't really have anything that we need. So it's pretty easy to use. But yeah, this was the Gossamer language. And now you can use Gossamer on the Nanos Unikernel. All right, till next week.